Example number 3. Now this one says solve, but before we get started, raise your hand if you can tell me what solve means. What does solve tell us to do, Vivian?
Simplify.
No,
Oh, wait,
those
no.
two things are very different. Okay, go ahead, Vivian.
It means to get the number right. No, never mind.
All right, I need this to be clear for those people who are listening. What does it mean to solve, Aiden?
To get the variable by itself.
Get the variable by itself.
I said
Now,
that.
wait a minute. The variable is not by itself right now. What's with it right now, Elizabeth?
-9.
A -9. And what's happening between the -9 and the variable, Elise? They're being multiplied. So how do I undo multiplication, Barrett? I divide it. Now, I want to undo multiplication by -9, so I have to divide by -9. Does that make sense to everybody?
No.
If I want to undo multiplication, how do I do that? Division, right? And if I multiply by -9, what do I want to divide by? To undo it, -9. But wait a minute, Emily is already, she's ready to tell me. Emily, what?
Would that mean like the system, like a negative and a negative?
Well, wait a minute. Hang on. Hang on. This is algebra. Jenna,
What we do to one side, we have to do.
what we do to one side, we have to do to the other side. Okay? Now let me ask you something. What happens to the two -9s on the right side? Raise your hand if you can tell me what happens to these two -9s on the right side. Emma? They disappear because -9 divided by -9 is just 1. A number divided by itself is 1. And whenever I have 1t, I don't need to write the 1. I can just write it as t. Now the t's by itself. But wait a minute. What is a 9, a positive 9, divided by a -9 turn into? Remember, the rules for division are the same as the rules for multiplication. Daniel? No, a number divided by itself never turns into 0. 9 divided by -9. Rowan? -1. A positive divided by a negative is a negative. 9 divided by 9 is 1. Done. Well, let's just check it. Is that okay? What is -9 times -1? Well, what's a negative times a negative? A positive. And what's 9 times 1? So do you agree that -9 times -1 gives me a positive 9?
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Is that good? All right, good. Let's look at the next one.